Welcome to 2027. If you think the money in your bank account is yours, you're living in a fantasy world. We have entered the era of the financial panopticon. Right now, as you read this, state-level AI systems are indexing every single transaction you make. Every cup of coffee, every flight, every payment to a contractor is a data point in a global social credit score. The white market, the world of traditional banks, regulated exchanges, and government-tracked assets, has become a digital prison. In this market, transparency is not a virtue, it is a weapon used against you. Taxes in the West are hitting confiscatory levels. Inflation is a silent thief, eating 15% of your energy every year, and emergency decrees can freeze your life's work in 3 seconds if your political views don't align with the current regime. But while the soft men are busy filing their tax returns and hoping for a 4% return on their 401s, the real wealth is vanishing. It's not disappearing into thin air, it's migrating into the gray zones. What is a gray zone? It's not the black market of criminals and cartels. It's the market of autonomy. It's the space where the economy moves faster than the bureaucrats can print laws. It's the territory of ghost wealth. By 2027, the real players have realized that being visible is the same as being vulnerable. If the system can see you, it can tax you, it can regulate you, and it can destroy you. The architect's primary goal in this new reality is to become a jurisdictional ghost. This is not about breaking the law. It's about transcending it. It's about the great escape from the one-size-fits-all trap of the nation-state. The first pillar of the gray zone is layered sovereignty. In the old world, you were a citizen, a biological asset owned by a specific government. You lived, worked, and paid for the privilege of existing in one place. In 2027, the architect treats citizenship as a subscription service, and right now, the service is terrible and the price is too high. You need to implement flag theory on steroids. This means decoupling your biological self from your economic self. You might be a citizen of country A, but you reside in country B, a territorial tax regime. You incorporate your business in country C, a zero-tax digital zone, and you host your data and servers in country D, a privacy haven. By spreading your legal chassis across multiple borders, you create a level of legal friction that makes it mathematically unprofitable for any single government to come after you. You become everywhere and nowhere. You are a ghost in the machine. You use the world's infrastructure, but you don't pay for the inefficiencies of a dying empire. But let's get even more tactical. By 2027, we are seeing the rise of digital special economic zones, DSECs. These aren't just physical places, they are sovereign cloud jurisdictions. Countries like El Salvador, Paraguay, or the UAE have realized that capital is the most cowardly animal on earth. It runs at the first sign of danger, so they have transformed themselves into service providers. They offer you a digital identity that is completely decoupled from your physical location. You can register your assets in their cloud, operate under their commercial code, which is usually written in lean, efficient smart contracts rather than bloated, corrupt legislation, and use their internal stablecoins for trade. To your local tax authority, you are just a guy with a laptop and a low income. But in the DSEZ, you are a titan of industry. This is the ultimate customer-to-government relationship. If one zone starts acting like a tyrant, you move your entire digital residency to a competitor with 3 clicks. This is the marketplace of governance, and the architect is the most demanding customer. The most dangerous thing you can do in 2027 is own things in your own name. The soft man is proud of his name on the deed of his house, his name on his car registration, and his name on his bank account. He doesn't realize that his name is a target. In the gray zone, ownership is a liability. The architect owns nothing but controls everything. This is achieved through private contractual associations, PCAs. This is how the old money, the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, have stayed rich for centuries, and now the architect is using tech to bring this to the masses. You move your assets into private foundations, discretionary trusts, or non-registered entities that operate under private contract law. These entities have no public filing requirements. When a litigious lawyer or a government inspector looks for your wealth, they find a wall of private contracts that lead to a dead end in a foreign jurisdiction. You are not a person anymore. You are a portfolio of entities. Why is this shift happening now? Because the social contract is dead. The governments of the West have broken their promises. They promised stability, but they gave us inflation. They promised security, but they gave us surveillance. They promised prosperity, but they gave us debt. The honest laborer is the one who still believes in the old contract. He works his honest job, pays his honest taxes, and wonders why he is getting poorer every year. He is the battery for a machine that is designed to consume him. The architect realizes that the only honest thing to do is to protect his family and his bloodline by exiting the system. The gray zone is the frontier. It's where the high IQ, high agency individuals are meeting to build a parallel economy. In this first part of our journey into the gray zones, yours, you must accept one brutal truth. The light is where they find you. The shadow is where you thrive. If you want to keep your capital in 2027, you have to become invisible. You have to gray your life. Start by moving your communications to encrypted, decentralized platforms. Start exploring jurisdictions that actually want your business. Start thinking of your wealth as a ghost that can move through walls. The year 2027 won't be a year of economic recovery for the masses. It will be a year of economic disappearance for the elite. You have to decide right now. Are you going to be a data point in the government's ledger, or are you going to be the ghost who owns the building? The door is closing, the AI scanners are warming up, and the gray zones are filling fast. It's time to move. Buckle up, because we're moving from the legal shadows into the digital underground. If part 1 was about hiding your identity, part 2 is about hiding the very movement of your wealth. By 2027, the traditional banking system isn't just a slow, bureaucratic nightmare. It is a fully weaponized surveillance trap. If you are still moving money through a standard wire transfer, you are essentially CCing the government on your entire business strategy. But in the gray zones, the real money has already migrated into the DeFi underground. This isn't the speculative crypto nonsense of the past. This is the structural shift of global liquidity into non-custodial, permissionless protocols that operate outside the Know Your Customer (KYC) dragnet. The architect knows that in a world of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, financial privacy is no longer a luxury. It is a requirement for survival. The core of the 2027 gray zone economy is zero-knowledge liquidity. We are talking about a parallel financial system where you can prove you have the funds to execute a multi-million-dollar transaction without ever revealing your wallet balance, your transaction history, or your real-world identity. This is the power of ZK proofs, zero-knowledge proofs. In the white market, the state demands total transparency so it can extract its pound of flesh. In the DeFi underground, privacy is the default setting. The architect uses dark pools, decentralized exchanges that do not have a public order book. When you trade $5 million for a stake in a tokenized lithium mine or a fleet of autonomous logistics drones, the transaction happens in a cryptographic shadow. To the outside world, no money moved. To the blockchain, the ownership shifted. This is strategic secrecy. It allows you to move capital with the speed of light and the stealth of a ghost. By 2027, the real money has realized that exit liquidity is the most dangerous stage of wealth management. If you try to move a large amount of crypto back into a traditional bank account, the compliance alarms go off. Your funds are frozen for verification, and you are flagged as a person of interest. The architect avoids this by never exiting. Instead, he lives in a circular tokenized economy. Everything of value, real estate, gold, intellectual property, and even high-end machinery has been tokenized. You don't sell your Bitcoin for dollars to buy a house. You use your Bitcoin as collateral in a decentralized lending protocol to borrow privacy stablecoins, and you use those coins to buy a tokenized deed to a property in a friendly jurisdiction. The transaction never touches a legacy bank. It never triggers a taxable event in the white market. It stays within the gray zone. You are using the value of your assets without ever surrendering the control to a third-party intermediary. But how do you handle the physical world? This is where the P2P shadow ramps come in. As governments try to choke off the on-ramps and off-ramps of the crypto world, a massive underground network of physical exchange has emerged. In every major global city in 2027, from Dubai to Singapore, from Miami to Istanbul, there are trusted nodes of P2P exchange. This is the OTC, over-the-counter market for the sovereign individual. You meet a contact in a secure private location, you transfer USDT or a privacy coin to their hardware wallet, and they hand you a suitcase of physical hard fiat or physical gold. No bank record, no paper trail, just two sovereign individuals conducting a private trade. These networks are built on proof of reputation. In the gray zone, your word and your history are your only credit score. The soft men are waiting in line at an ATM that has a $200 daily limit. The architect is moving 6 figures in a coffee shop because he has built his network of trusted shadow ramps years in advance. The 2027 underground also utilizes synthetic assets to hedge against the collapse of the fiat world. The architect doesn't just hold coins, he holds synthetics that track the price of US Treasury bonds, the S&P 500, or the price of oil, all on chain. This allows you to have the economic exposure of the traditional markets with none of the counterparty risk of a brokerage or a bank. If the New York Stock Exchange shuts down for a trading halt during a crisis, the decentralized synthetic markets keep trading 24/7. You have the ultimate liquidity advantage. While the honest laborers are watching their brokerage accounts go view only during a market panic, the architect is rebalancing his synthetic portfolio in real time, capturing the volatility that destroys everyone else. Furthermore, we are seeing the rise of algorithmic tax havens. These are smart contracts that automatically route your income through various gray jurisdictions before it ever hits your wallet. For example, a payment for your consulting services is sent to a smart contract. That contract automatically splits the payment. 20% goes to a hardware maintenance company in a low-tax zone, 30% goes into a research and development foundation, and the remaining 50% is converted into a privacy coin and sent to your cold storage. By the time the money reaches you, the taxable trail has been shattered into 1,000 pieces of cryptographic dust. This is automated sovereignty. You aren't doing your taxes. The code is ensuring you don't have to. The state is trying to use AI to track you. The architect is using AI to outrun the state. The most profound shift in the 2027 DeFi underground is the decentralization of trust. In the legacy world, you trust the bank, the auditor, and the regulator. In the gray zone, you trust the math. The code is open source. The ledgers are immutable. The real money prefers the cold, hard logic of a smart contract over the promises of a politician. This creates a shadow meritocracy where capital flows to the most efficient, most secure, and most private protocols. The soft men stay in the safe banks because they are afraid of the complexity. They are paying a complexity tax in the form of inflation and fees. The architect embraces the complexity, masters the tools, and reaps the rewards of a system that is designed for the high IQ survivor. In this second part of our deep dive, the message is clear. If you aren't your own bank, you are someone else's prey. The technology to be completely independent already exists. The gray zone is simply the collection of people who have the courage to use it. You need to move your capital out of the honeypots of centralized exchanges and into cold storage. You need to learn how to use DeFi bridges to move value across chains without leaving a footprint. You need to build your network of P2P ramps. The year 2027 is the year of the great decoupling. The digital world and the physical world are separating, and the real money is hiding in the gap. The banks are closing their doors. The CBDCs are coming to track your every cent. But the DeFi underground is open 24/7 for those who know the password. It's time to stop being a user and start being an operator. The final and most ingenious layer of the 2027 survival protocol is the transition into unsizable physicality. While the soft men are obsessed with digital digits on a screen that can be deleted with a single keystroke from a central bank, the architect understands that true sovereignty requires a physical anchor, wealth that is hidden in plain sight, highly portable, and possesses global liquidity without a single byte of data being transmitted. In a world of total AI surveillance, where every smart device is a snitch, the most revolutionary act you can perform is to own an asset that does not emit a signal. We are talking about the gray man assets, the high-value physical goods that allow you to carry the net worth of a small village across a border in your pocket without ever triggering a suspicious activity report. In 2027, the ultimate exit vehicle is not a bank wire, it's a high-end mechanical chronograph. You need to understand the watch arbitrage. A $150,000 Patek Philippe or an $80,000 Rolex Daytona is not a piece of jewelry. It is a portable store of value that is recognized and accepted from the diamond districts of Antwerp to the private offices of Dubai. It is a global currency that requires no internet connection and no third-party permission. When you wear a high-value watch through airport security, it is legally classified as a personal effect, not monetary instruments. You can walk through customs with $250,000 on your wrist, and while the man next to you is being interrogated for carrying $11,000 in cash, you are walking into your new life with your capital intact. This is the stealth portability of the elite. The architect doesn't buy the watch to tell the time. He buys it to transport his time energy across borders. But the physical gray zone goes deeper than luxury goods. It extends into the concept of high-value density minerals. By 2027, the real players have moved a portion of their wealth into investment-grade gemstones, specifically high-clarity diamonds and rare rubies, that have been certified by independent labs and sealed in tamper-proof casings. A single gemstone the size of a pea can hold the value of 5 Bitcoin, but it has zero electromagnetic signature. It cannot be hacked. It cannot be debanked. It is the ultimate grid-down insurance. The architect keeps these assets in a decentralized physical vaulting system, not in a safe at home, which is a target, but in private, non-bank safety deposit boxes in neutral jurisdictions like Singapore, Liechtenstein, or the Cayman Islands. These private vaults are the cold storage of the physical world. They operate outside the banking system, meaning they aren't subject to the same emergency freeze orders that will paralyze the retail banks in 2027. The third pillar of the physical ghost strategy is barter equity and non-registered land. In the techno-feudal era of 2027, the state will use satellite imagery and AI to track every square inch of registered property to ensure they are squeezing every drop of property tax out of the peasants. The architect, however, seeks out shadow real estate, land held through private companies or agricultural cooperatives, where the beneficial ownership is masked by layers of the jurisdictional ghost protocols we discussed in Part 1. Furthermore, you must invest in productive infrastructure that exists off the grid. This means private water wells, solar arrays with dark battery backups, and local trust-based food supply chains. In a crisis, the man with $1 million in a frozen bank account will trade his prestige for a gallon of fuel or a crate of antibiotics. The architect has already pre-positioned these life support assets in a secure, unremarkable location. This is wealth in utility. If you can't eat it, use it to defend yourself or trade it for passage. It's not true wealth in 2027. It's just a digital hallucination. This leads us to the most powerful gray man asset of all, intellectual property and non-custodial skills. You must realize that the one thing the state can never tax, seize, or regulate is the code in your brain. In 2027, the real money is being invested into biohacking and accelerated learning. The architect treats his own biology as the primary asset. He spends his capital to acquire high-level skills in AI orchestration, decentralized engineering, and tactical medicine. These aren't just hobbies, they are portable equity. In a collapsed economy, a man who can repair a decentralized communications array or perform a trauma surgery is a lord, regardless of what the bank says his balance is. You become a mercenary of value. You can be dropped in any city on earth with nothing but your clothes, and within 48 hours, you will have resources, protection, and influence because your value is intrinsic, not external. This is the sovereign mindset. The soft men rely on their titles and degrees, which are just pieces of paper from a dying system. The architect relies on his competence, which is a universal law. The final component of the 2027 gray zone is the social shadow network. You must understand that in a high surveillance world, your network is your net worth, but only if that network is invisible. The architect builds a closed-loop community of other sovereigns, doctors, engineers, security specialists, and farmers who trade with each other using a private ledger of favors. This is the shadow meritocracy. You provide the legal strategy for the doctor's clinic. He provides the medical care for your family. No money changes hands. No taxable event is recorded. No government is involved. It is a pure, peer-to-peer exchange of value based on trust and mutual survival. By 2027, these private networks will be the only places where high-quality goods and services are still available, while the white market is stuck with shortages, inflation, and low-quality industrial slop. You are building a parallel society within the ruins of the old one. The year 2027 is not just another year on the calendar. It is the great leveling. It is the year where the honest laborers who played by the rules will realize the rules were a trap. It is the year where the visible will be consumed by the system. But for those who have mastered the gray zone, who have decoupled their identity, moved their liquidity into the DeFi underground, and secured their physical existence through grayman assets, 2027 will be the year of the great ascension. You will be the one with the clarity to see the opportunities while everyone else is blinded by panic. You will be the one with the mobility to move while everyone else is locked in place. You will be the one with the capital to build the new world while the old one is still smoldering. The gray zone is not a place you go. It is a way you live. It is a commitment to absolute responsibility. It means you no longer blame the government for inflation because you don't hold their currency. You no longer blame the bank for the freeze because you are your own bank. You no longer blame the state for your lack of security because you have secured your own perimeter. The door is closing. The AI scanners are at 99% capacity. The white market is preparing the shackles. It's time to take your wealth, take your family, and step into the shadows. The architect is already there, waiting to build the future. The only question is, are you coming or are you staying behind to pay the bill for a world that no longer exists? The choice is yours. The time is now. End of protocol.